Hey everyone, Mark Costanzo, Family and Iron. Today we're just going to focus on how to do a stomach vacuum. Now, I'm going to break it down into three sections. One, the basic technique, how to do it, how to do it properly. Two, how to use progressive overload to master it and make it look effortless. And three, how to implement it into your posing and how to use transitions to make it look seamless. So, number one, the way you do a vacuum is you want to blow absolutely all the air out of your lungs before you pull your stomach in. So the best analogy I can use is the wet towel. So when I blow all the air out of my lungs, it's like I'm wringing a wet towel. I'm blowing as much air as possible to the point where I actually feel like a twinge in my midsection. So once you get to that point, that's when you pull your stomach in. Now, the leaner you are and the less food you got in your stomach, the easier this is going to be. Obviously, the more you practice, the easier it will be too. But that's the basic technique to it. So once you start pulling your stomach in, what I always did was, some people say pull your belly button in towards your spine. For me, I like to, I don't know if it's upper obliques or, the upper abs. I used to feel them going under my ribs. I knew what it felt like when it tucked right under. So whatever feels like, when you practice and you get that feeling, okay, my stomach is fully in, that's the feeling you're gonna go for. So to demonstrate, so obviously once all the air's out, you don't take another breath, you don't take breath in. Once you hold that point, allow the stomach to come under. I think it's the way it decreases the volume size of the lungs with no air in them, allows more room for the stomach to tuck under. Okay, that's the proper way to do it. Now, how do we use progressive overload to master it or to get better at it? Because you might not be able, some people can do it straight off the bat, some people, for me, it took about 3 months. What do? So, you start with different positions where you're not having to support yourself. So what do I mean by that? So the first position, the easiest position you can be in to do a vacuum is on your hands and knees. So you basically, literally be on your hands and knees. You blow out, suck your stomach in, hold it for 20 to 30 seconds. Once that gets a bit easier, comfortable, then you go into a seated position. You're sitting on a chair on the edge of your bed. You're sitting on the edge of your bed. Yeah, hold it for 20, 30 seconds. Next step after that is standing. So just standing, hands on the hips, hands by your side, whatever, yeah? Once that becomes a bit more comfortable, then the last step is hands overhead. Now this is going to be a bit more of a difficult one, because the difficult part is once you're in a vacuum, once the vacuum's in, being able to straighten your back and stretch this out while still holding the vacuum. That was challenging for me, but you might be different. So to demonstrate, this is the final stage, hands overhead. Now, once you mastered that, and what I would do is every single morning, fresh out of bed, before breakfast, no food in the stomach, go into the bathroom like we are now. That's why I'm doing it in the bathroom, because this is where the magic happens. 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds, once a day in the morning, that's it. I tried doing them twice a day. It actually slowed the progress. It's like the transverse abdominals need to recover from each session as well. Another way is if you do fasted cardio, do your cardio, tire yourself out from your cardio, then do it with your posing practice every morning. The more you do it, if you're going to do this on stage, you got to practice, yeah? It's going to look shit if you can't hold it and make it look effortless. Because the next stage is when you start implementing it into your posing, you're going to be, so for example, front double bicep, you're going to be squeezing calves, quads, lats out, biceps squeezed. You're going to be squeezing everything in the body at once while holding the vacuum. That's where it starts getting a little bit more difficult. So you got to practice this, you got to train yourself, you got to become accustomed. It's got to be like nothing to you. So when you get to the stage, you can effortlessly hold the vacuum while during your poses. Now, lastly, how to implement it into your poses. The trick is, how do you hide the blowout through your transitions, through your movements, so they don't notice you blowing all the air out. I like to blow it out through my mouth, but if you can blow it out through your nose too, but I like the mouth because it gets it out quicker. Now, I'm going to use the front double bi as an example. So, I set my legs up. As I'm bringing my arms in here for the beginning of the pose, I'm blowing out. Bang. Yeah? You don't get to here, then blow out. It's too much. It's got to be seamless. So as the arms are coming in, you're blowing out. That's just one example. So how you hide the blowing out of the air while you're transitioning. So just say you're in a side chest, right? Blah, blah, blah. Blowing out as I'm turning around. So. But that's up to your creativity. Lastly, if you can really master it, what's going to look really impressive on stage, if you can go from 2 to 3 or even 4 different poses while holding the vacuum through the whole stint, that's going to look really impressive. I've done it once, 2018. I held the vacuum through 3 different poses without letting it go. And you know what? If you've done the training, if you've done the practice, it's effortless. You can do it. You actually hear gasps from the audience, because that's not something you don't see every day. They know how difficult it is. So if you can really, really build up your stamina, you can really hold it for long periods of time without struggling too much. Going from pose to pose to pose without letting it go can be a wow factor in your posing routine. So you could do, I think what I did front double bi into a Frank Zane, into hands overhead, and then I contracted the abs. I could have even gone a 4th pose, but I just didn't expect it to be that easy on stage. So, just for example, when you're 3 to 4% body fat and you're shredded and you're dry and you're on stage tanned up, it's going to look a lot more dramatic than when you're in the off season. But even if you're not a bodybuilder, it's a good idea to practice these too, because it gives you a lot more control over your transverse abdominals, and just good for posture as well. But that's all I've got time for. I wasn't expecting this video to go for 9 minutes, but we'll probably chop it up and see what we can do. Everyone have a good day and practice those vacuums.